Hey everyone, welcome back to the OnShape series. I am Mr. Redmond. Today we're going to use a bunch of new tools. We're going to make a really interesting looking object, and that is this multi-bit jeweler's set. We're going to actually make this holder for these tools in OnShape. This is a really interesting looking object. So I'm going to walk you through how one would reproduce this. We're going to use a few interesting tools such as a taper. We're going to taper the extrusions. We're going to loft, which is a way for you to combine two different shapes in an extrusion. And I'm also going to show you how to do a pattern, a circular pattern on this as well. And finally, actually, we're going to shell this out like it would be made out of plastic, like a molded plastic. So check this out. I already made this once, and this is what the dimensions are going to look like, but I'm not going to have you create a dimension drawing. In this case, I just want you to make the object itself and then take a screenshot of it. So check this out. Here we are on OnShape. We're going to start, of course, with a sketch. We're going to sketch on the top plane and then adjust our view cube so we're there. We need to make a polygon. We're going to do an inscribed polygon. We have two options, circumscribed and inscribed. We're going to do an inscribed polygon. And the base itself is going to be 1.75 inches. You see it defaults to a hexagon. I think that's what we want. We want 6 sides. And when you place it down with a click, you can change how many parts. Is it a hexagon or an octagon? It's a pentagon. My bad. Look how many sides we can make with this. It's practically a circle with 20 sides. So we'll go to a 5-sided pentagon. When we place it down, now we can't change the dimension. It doesn't give us the option to dimension the circle, so we have to do that manually. We're going to grab the dimension tool and click on the circle and change that. Oh, of course, I forgot to switch this over to something to inches. We're going to do this in inches. So I'm going to come over here to the workspace, change it to inches. As you know already, I frequently forget to do that. Go back to the dimension tool, go back to our sketch, double click on the sketch. We need to change this from 2.3 inches to 1.75 inches. That's the size of our base. Seems pretty small, but it's a pretty small tool set. Pretty small indeed. We're going to add a horizontal constraint to this line right here. Make that nice and horizontal, so we're good to go. Finish that sketch, go back to our normal ISO view, and we need to extrude this, but we're not going to extrude it very much. We're actually going to only extrude it a teensy little bit, 0.05 inches, really small. Hit enter and then hit enter, and now we have this tiny little extruded polygon. The next part of the little base is an extrusion up, another extrusion up. And one thing you can do here is, so we already have this base, we already have it there. We can actually extrude it again, which is unique to OnShape. I think I've never done this before on a different program. We're going to extrude it up another quarter inch, 0.25 inches. However, we're going to do it a little different. Guess what? You can change the angle at which you are extruding up. You can taper this with the extrude tool, and it's called a draft. So if you click on the draft button, you'll see that it defaults to 3 degrees of angle. We actually want to change this to 45 degrees. If you hit enter, it'll change it, and you see why it goes way wide. It's pretty cool. You don't want it to go wide. We want to actually go inside. We want the angle to be reversed. So if we click the opposite direction button, it changes, and now we have this very interesting looking base. So it goes up a teensy bit, and then it goes at a 45-degree angle all the way in. Pretty neat, up a quarter inch. So the height here is still a quarter inch, but there's a taper to it. Click the green check, and now we have this pentagonal base. Very cool. After that, we're going to extend this up even further. We're going to go up a little bit. It looks like about 3/4 of an inch here. We're going to go up. So we're going to do the same thing over again. We're extruding on top of an extrusion. This time we want to go up 0.75 inches, and our draft is going to be 3 degrees this time. So the standard 3 degrees, but we don't want it to be wider. We want to make it more narrow. So we flip that as well. Click the green check, and we're good. Check out this thing now. Really unique looking shape. Pretty cool. After that, we want to turn this pentagonal shape into something more round, to a circle. And in order to do that, we're going to have to transition from pentagonal to a round feature, and we're going to need to use this tool called Loft, which lives right here. Before we do that, we need to make a plane in order to start extruding upward towards. And in order to do that, we're going to create a plane. Right here, this is a plane tool. You can put a plane wherever you want in a lot of different locations. There's a lot of options here for different types of planes. We want an offset plane in this case. We are going to put a new plane right above this one. So I'm going to click on this plane here, and you see that it puts a plane just floating above it 1 inch. We of course don't want it to be 1 inch. We want it to be, let's say, how tall is this? Maybe a 1/2 inch up. I think it's about a 1/2 inch. So we'll do a 1/2 inch. Change that to 0.5. In my notes. Oh, 0.1. We're going to do 0.1. 0.1 inch. That's fine. 0.1 inch. That sounds good. It's a 1/10 of an inch up, and we're going to make a circle. So we click on the check, and you see that this plane, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, is just a 1/10 of an inch above. And what this is going to do is it's going to make this little transition period right there on the tool set. So let's make a sketch. I'm going to do it right here on this plane. It's hard to select sometimes because it's going to want to default to one of these other planes. So you have to wait until when you move your mouse over, highlights it gold. There we go. Very strange. Very strange indeed. So we'll go to the top view like normal, zoom in a little bit, and we're going to put a circle here right on top. We're going to make that circle 1.1 inches. I think it brings us just about to the edge. Yeah, just about to the edge of the pentagram, or the pentagonal feature right there. Interesting. So we're done with this sketch. I'm going to click check, go back to our ISO view, and we're now going to loft between this surface and this surface. So we click on the Loft tool, and we're going to click on this feature here, and then the circle. And you'll see that it does this blend between the two surfaces. And that's all. We just join those two surfaces, and that's it. We'll click the check, and look at what we have made. It's pretty neat looking, in my opinion. It's really cool to make different shapes come together like that. You can do this for the same size shape as well, if you wanted to. You can just make it smaller and change. It's similar to a taper in that case. Right now, what we should do is we'll extrude the circle up a little bit. Click on it. It goes up 1 inch by default. Typically, this time we're going to make it go up a ½ inch, 0.5 inches. Perfectly. Go. Enter. Now we are pretty close to getting this done. So we have done an extrusion here, and then a tapered extrusion, and then a different angled taper extrusion, and then a loft, and a regular cylinder extrusion here. Pretty quickly, we have a very radical looking shape. A really neat looking object. So if you see here, there's several holes in the top. One in the middle to hold the screwdriver, and then 5 around the outside of that. They're all the same size. So we're going to do that next. We are going to make a new sketch right on top. We'll make the middle hole first. Change our view, zoom in. We'll put a circle right there at the origin, starting there. And it's going to be pretty small. We're going to make a 1/4 inch, 0.25 inches. That's good enough for me. Click the green check, go back to ISO, and now we're going to extrude that down. We're going to make this into a cylinder to hold the screwdriver. We're going to remove material, so we'll click that option, and we're going to go down, let's say 1.5 inches, 1.5 all the way down. Cool. Sounds good to me. Click the green check. Now we have that fancy hole right down the middle. Looking good. We're going to do one more sketch, I think. And we will sketch right on the top again. And now we want to do our 5 circles. This is where it's going to get interesting because I don't think you've done a pattern yet. So we're going to do a circle. We're going to put it on this vertical axis right here. It doesn't really matter where you put it at the moment. And it's going to be pretty small. We'll make it 0.1 inches in diameter. And then what we want to do is we will dimension this center of this circle from the origin here. So let's prescribe this one to be from here to here to be 0.3 inches, about halfway. Pretty good. So we don't want one circle, and I don't want to find the angle and calculate where I'm going to put 4 additional circles. That seems hard. Thankfully, with a program like this, there's a tool right here for a pattern, making a pattern out of this, repeating the shape on this surface. There's 2 different types: linear patterns, which is the one we're not going to use, so don't do this. You'll make a square pattern, and you can tells you how many times you want to do this, and you can make it so if you have like a grid of holes, this is what you'd use. We're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to make a circular pattern, which is right here in the drop-down menu. So I'm going to click on our circle, and it defaults to 3. So what we want to do is make it 5, and this is a very interesting thing. So it's defaulting to the origin being the axis of revolution, and that's fine at this moment, but you can often specify the axis of revolution, where you want to revolve these parts around. And so I think what I do is from here, I can click down and move my mouse up to change how many, that's not it. Change how many we have. I want 5. That didn't work. Let's try that one more time. So it appears, double click on that 3, that'll do it. Type in 5, hit enter, and now we have 5 total circles around here. We hit enter, and it places them down. How strange. It's worked before. They're there now. So whatever you have to do to make them get placed in, that's good. Okay, so that was very strange. Click the green check. Now they are in a sketch. We're going to go back to the ISO view, and now we need to extrude each of those. So we're going to click on every single one of those circles, and because we're going to extrude them all down the same amount. So we're going to remove material here, and we're going to go down and say 1.25 inches. And we're actually also going to draft these as well. We're going to draft them down with a 1 degree taper. Let's make it 1 degree. Not very much. We don't want to be wider on the other side. We want it to be narrower, so we'll reverse the direction. Like that. Cool. Hit the green check, and we are just about done. Some people are annoyed by the plane that shows up here, and I believe you can turn it off. Right here, you can click on the eyeball, make that plane go away, so it's now more attractive. So now we have this really interesting holder here. Let's make it look a little bit more professional. And so let's take the fillet tool and fillet the edge. We want to fillet the circle here. That's a little bit too aggressive. The 0.2, let's change it to 0.1 inches. I think that'll be a little bit better. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Click check. And one last step. So this is looking really nice. The last step we'll do is called shell. We're going to shell it from the bottom. And this is going to remove a bunch of the material so that it is hollow on the inside. So click on the shell, and then we're going to click on the face to remove. And look at that. Most of the stuff goes away. We're going to change the shell thickness from 1 inch, let's delete the whole thing, to 1.75 millimeters. And enter millimeters in. And here we have it. Look how cool that looks in the inside. It's really neat. So here we have our Craftsman jewel tool holder made just for us. If you want to change the color, you can change the color on the part by right-clicking on the part. That's not it. I click check. There we go. There we go. And going to edit appearance. And since it was bright red on the site, might as well make it bright red. on the part. And here we have it, our finished jeweler's tool set using a taper, a loft, a circular pattern, it's hard to do, and a shell tool. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.